Hey, this is Brendan from Comicon. Joining me today, I've got the guys behind Magma. Well, three of them anyway, from Magma Comix. We've got Denton J. Tipton, Joel Elad, and Bobby Curnow. How you guys doing today?
Doing
Doing great.
great.
Super.
Cool. So Magma Comics, you guys, it was founded in 2020. You're doing some really exciting things. You got a bunch of stuff coming up in January. How did Magma Comics kind of come together? How did you guys form this new company?
Great. Yeah. So it started with me after I left IDW during the pandemic, and I was doing some freelance editing and writing my own stories, pitching those around, and went to heavy metal. I knew the editor-in-chief there, Tim Seeley, at the time. So I just started pitching him, and he liked the projects that I had, and so he kicked me up to the CEO, and one conversation led to another, and ended up getting an imprint at Heavy Metal. And we put out like about three titles that year, that first year, and that was 21. And then yeah, it wasn't working out so well. So I left and started working at another company called Opus Publishing. And
Mhm.
we had just started. We had the Frank Frazetta license and did a lot of music tie-in. And then that started to wind down, and I really wanted to get back to Magma and that mission, which is being a home for creators that where they're taken care of, and get a fair shake. And so I started putting that back together, and reached out to some old friends from IDW, and that's where Bobby and Joel came in, as well as Mike Ford, who's not with us. He's our director of operations, but he's with us. He's just not on the show today.
Oh yeah, yeah. That came out a little. Yeah. Okay. I'm glad you clarified. Cool.
Still alive.
Yes.
Still
Fair,
alive, we
fair.
think.
Nice. So one of the things that I read in the press release and the notes that I got here is that you're trying to give a fair shake to creators, basically, because sometimes they get bullied around by the bigger companies, and you're looking for a transparent deal with advanced royalties and first look deals. Kind of tell me how important is that, and why is it so important?
Yeah, like creators often when they're doing creator-owned work, they're not supported financially. They have to either go to crowdfunding or they're just self-publishing. So it's really tough to get up, enough money to be able to publish, let alone do the actual work. And a lot of the bigger publishers will, dangle some money, and but as soon as they get it, they kind of they'll put it out and kind of forget about it, or not really give it the support that it needs to be able to catch on in the marketplace. So we're trying to address a lot of problems that not fans, but creators are having. But we're also looking at ways to serve other people within the community, such as retailers, because they have a really tough time these days as well. I've got a retail background, and Joel does as well. So yes, we're trying to make things better on multiple fronts.
Yeah, it's really cool. I saw on, in the notes that I have here too, also is the low risk ordering for retailers. Like that is such a big thing for, especially, a lot of local shops are really small businesses. And when they have to order, they anticipate and they order 200 copies and then they sell 50, they're stuck with those other 150. And it says that you're going to take returns.
So the
Yeah,
first
yeah,
two
yeah,
issues of
yeah.
everything we do is going to be returnable. We're also going to
Mm.
make it easy for the stores. If you're a reader, we're going to give you a low cost, easy way to follow the titles. We're not going to renumber after every 4 issues. We're not going to do
Mhm.
50 covers every issue. We want the readers to just pick up the book every month, get some enjoyment out of it. Uh, and if you're a collector, we've got a collector cover for you as well. And if you like the big name artists, we've got a retailer incentive as well. So very simple. Every retailer can set their levels with the first 2 issues being returnable, and we don't try to make it complicated at all. Covers are ready in advance, previews are ready in advance online, and we just think we put good content into the hands of retailers and fans, and we think everybody can win.
Well, that's really cool because by the third issue, you know whether you like it or not. At that point, you should know how many to order, right?
Correct.
Wow, that's really cool. And then you guys or you're working on, it's live now on Zoop, Maui Strong,
Mhm.
supporting the fires in Maui. There's a charity called, Maui Rapid Response that you guys are supporting with Maui Strong on Zoop. Can you tell us a little bit
Mhm.
about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And this kind of started with a conversation I was having with Joshua Sky, who is a fellow editor at Heavy Metal, and we've been, continuing talking since we both left, and always talking about making comics. And that one day we were talking, and the news broke that the fires had happened in Maui, and it was a couple of days before the word got out exactly how bad the devastation was. And we got to talking again and try to figure out ways that we could help. And there's a strong tradition in comics of coming together and helping one another, and a lot of times that's done through benefit books like anthologies. So Josh and I talked a bit about it, and he's a Maui native, so it hit really home to him, and he put me in touch with Alika at Maui Comicon, and he also owns a Maui comic shop there, and he's connected with the community, and he helped us navigate it and figure out the best way to help the people in need. And so we're doing an anthology to raise funds for the fire victims, and that'll be administered through Maui Rapid Response. And the anthology is by native Maui Islanders that, a lot of them are getting their break, and they're telling their stories of the island and its mythology and past. So, it's a really neat project, and I'm really happy that we're able to get it together, and hopefully we can help a lot of people.
Right on. Who are some of the creators that are involved with that?
The editor, his name is Carl Shinyama, and he's a Maui native. Joshua Sky is as well. We have, Mike Gold is doing some commissions for the crowdfunding campaign on Zoop. There's another artist, Julian. I'm blanking on his last, but there's, I believe, about 4 or 5 creative teams. So we've got, about a dozen creators working on that.
Let's talk a little bit about content. What genre of comics are you guys going to be making?
There's a couple of things that we're avoiding. We're avoiding YA. We're avoiding middle grade. We love these things, but they're maybe just not what our passion is right now. And plus, the market has a ton of that stuff right now. So we are focusing on mature genre fiction, sci-fi, horror, action adventure, slice of life. Not so much superheroes because again, we feel like that is really being serviced elsewhere. But we're basically making the type of stories that we want to read as adults because we believe comics are just as good as any other medium and can tell stories just as complicated and just as important to today's world. So basically anything that has a whole lot of comics passion behind it is something we're going to be interested in looking at and hopefully getting out to the world and our readers.
That's really cool. That actually that hits like so many of my stuff, or so many of the things on my list. You got the horror, you got the sci-fi and stuff like that. And then, so no young adult, but it's not necessarily going to be like, it's not going to be like swearing all over the place or X-rated or anything like that. It's just not specifically geared towards like the middle grades, right?
Yeah, we'll probably have some swearing in our titles, but yeah, exactly. And it's not pornography, but it is intended for mature readers, not kids. Yeah.
No space robot porn. No.
Well, not in our first year. We'll see.
Maybe
we'll get there eventually.
If we
That's
get the
18
right
months
pitch,
ago.
you never know.
Nice, cool. All right, so you three are obviously here: Denton J. Tipton and Joel Elad and Bobby Curnow. I've got some other names on the list here. Who else is on the team?
Let's see, Mike Ford, mentioned him a little earlier. He is our director of operations. No surprise, we know him from IDW as well. He used to be the director of operations there and then went on to Clover Press, and now he's joining us in the new year. And director of operations, what does that mean? Is out here talking to our printers. He's talking to our distributors. He's talking to Comicon, Read Pop, talking about setting up at shows. So it's a lot of work as well, and it's a small team. Besides Mike, we have Melissa Mazzaros as our publicist. Yeah, she's awesome. We love her at Don't Hide PR. David Gallagher is our social media manager. He's a
Okay.
creator, best known probably for High Noon, and he used to work at DCM Marketing, so he's handling that for us. We've got well, here's an exclusive for you. We haven't made an
Oh,
announcement
oh,
yet. We've got our design director is on board, Sean Lee. He used to be at IDW as well, and Sean Lee is now going to be joining us as design director at Magma, where he's going to be, overseeing the look, lettering our books. He's, been doing great work for, past decade that I've known him. Bobby as well has known him for about that long as well. Worked really closely with him on all the Turtles books. The guy's also won awards for, design on the Madman. I think it was Half Century Shindig. So the guy knows his stuff, and we're excited to have him on board. So that's breaking news. Sean Lee.
nice. There we go. There's our exclusive. We talked earlier. I was like, so can I get this? And you're like, no. Can I get this? No, no, no. We're waiting for that for January. So right on. We got the exclusive. Yeah, you mentioned Melissa. Melissa's so funny because she sent me all these press releases and I had to pick through and find all the stuff on there. But one of the things that she kept bringing up was poker. And she's like, they're going to be playing poker. You should play poker. You should drink and play poker. And I'm like, how do we play poker that's not going to work.
I did bring a deck of cards though.
Okay.
If
So
we
are
want
we going to
to-
play? How does this work? How do we play four-handed with one person holding all the
I don't know.
cards?
It doesn't work at all. Like even if I do this, like I can see what I've got. Like
Right.
I don't know. I don't know how we're
And
going to do it.
another interesting thing that came up is you guys are all in the same area. You're right there in San Diego. So something came up today. So you didn't play poker, but you're all right there in the same place. We're at Comicon. We're spread out across the globe. We got guys in the UK. We got guys in San Diego. We got guys like all over the place. Is that better, do you think, than the way some of the businesses are run, where people are all over the place and you're trying to coordinate or whatever? Like, does it get too close sometimes? Are you guys are you adjusting well to being so close to each other and being so available?
So
Well, you want to take this one, Bob? Okay.
sure. It's weird because we all work together in an office at IDW, but here we are working remotely. We're all in our houses. So these poker games are the only times we're really seeing each other live. These are our brain trust important matters of state meetings. These poker games, and Mike Ford, who's not here, he took all my money last game. And so it's a good way for us to let off some steam at the end of the week. We usually do them once a month. But I would love for it to be like a regular thing with like any poker creators, any comic creators in San Diego come to the game. It'd be awesome fun to have one at during San Diego Comicon. We can get a bunch of people, maybe have a charity game. Yeah, it's just it's a ton of fun.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I would so buy into that. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe Scott Dumbier used to do that. IDW editor does all the artist edition. I think he used to have one. But that's a tradition. Yeah, we need to get back going again, I think.
I do not usually attend San Diego Comic-Con, but if there was a poker tournament involved, I would be there.
We'll start getting it going. I mean, yeah, let's do it.
Nice. So an interesting point, though, is you guys are all in the same city, but you're still working remotely. So pandemic kind of changed that for everybody, where employers realized they didn't have to have everybody in the same office, in the same space together. So you're working on your same schedules? Are you guys working, are you doing an 8 to 5 so that you're available with the work Skypes or anything like that at the same times, or just kind of you turn in your work when you turn in your work?
It's a little bit of a mix right now. We're, in stealth mode, so we're not in full production. We're just getting things launched. So it's a little more, touch and go right now, I guess. We're, I'm sitting at my desk at 6 a.m, because this is my baby and I'm going to be, committed to it. So I'm there all day, but I've got a 5-year-old as well. So I'm taking breaks. I'm going off and playing, Star Wars with him, whatever, he's seen my stuff around, so he's kind of latched onto comics and Star
That's
Wars
cool.
and that sort of stuff. So yeah, so I really enjoy that. But being able to be at home, I can just take a few minutes and do that. And I've worked with Bobby and Joel for a long time, and that's why I brought them back, because I know they're really good people, and they're good workers, and they know what they're doing. So I don't have to sit there and stay on top of them, and like, Bobby, where are the pages? Like, Bobby knows where the pages are, and I know Bobby knows, so I'm not worried about it. If there's a problem, Bobby's going to raise a flag. We've worked together for a long time, so we know each other pretty well, and it's been pretty great. I sometimes do miss the happenstance meetings, the fun things that happen that you don't really get remotely. A lot of times you just drop in and say hi or see what's going on, and it leads to something. So that's still good. So that's what the poker games are still good for. And as we ramp things up, and I'm sure we'll be doing more in-person stuff, and you can get through some stuff easier that way as well. But I think the freedom is really, really awesome. Also, the overhead is nice, not having to pay that. So I think everyone wins in the situation.
I think the one thing that we all agreed on in like our first meeting was no meetings on Monday, so we can all just kind of like come into the week at our own pace and get our own bearing with the madness before we have to deal with it with each other.
Correct. I'm the night owl, so they'll get my agendas at like midnight or 1 a.m. because that's my no phone call distractions, no nothing. I do all the work calls during the day, but I also sometimes get my best thoughts in the evening when it's quiet. So yeah, we work when we need to get the job done.
That's a really cool way to looking at it. I also do a bunch of my stuff at night because my kids are up during the day. I work from home so that I can see my kids. So I identify with that with Denton's plan there. But it's funny because I'll send something off at 2 a.m. and one of my guys in New York, or not New York, Philadelphia, will immediately fire back. And I'm like, dude, you should definitely be asleep. Like, what are you doing? Send me an email at 2 a.m. or 5 a.m. his time. Yeah. So cool. Right on. So you guys, I mean, it sounds like you got something really cool going here. Your content sounds solid, your plan sounds solid, and I mean, all that's left to do is make some comics. So you're in the solicits for January. When is your first comic book going to hit the shelves?
It's going to be April. April is our first book, April 3rd, and then our second title will be out April 10th. We've basically got the first year scheduled out to the week, so we know every book when it needs to go to press and when the solicits are due. So we're working way ahead, so we have everything ready for retailers. When the orders go live, they'll have everything they need to make an informed decision and hopefully order a lot of Magma books.
Right on. And then you guys, are you going to be distributing through Diamond or one of the other companies?
We're definitely going to distribute through Diamond. We're looking to have a multi-distributor strategy. Joel, you're the sales guy. You want to a little more?
So we are looking at other distributors. No contracts have dried yet, but we want to make it as easy as possible. So as retailers are, looking at shipping cost, where their books are coming from, we want to give them as many options as possible. So as we work to solidify our relations with other distributors, we'll be letting everybody know about that. But yeah, we definitely want to keep it open. One of the things retailers are dealing with nowadays is there are 3+ distributors to choose from, where some products only at one, some at the other, and you've got to balance integrating these books into your weekly shelf, checking them in, balancing shipping costs. So we want to make it as available as possible. So we're definitely deep in talks to make that happen. We'll also be at the WonderCon convention at the end of March, right before our first title hits, so that we can meet the fans, put preview material and the first issue in their hands.
Oh, so are you doing ash cans or are you doing full issues for WonderCon?
We're doing a full-size issue plus a full-size sampler. So we're going to be detailing our first 3 titles in the April-May timeframe, behind the scenes, story pages, something that stores will be receiving in the month of February while they're doing the initial order cycle for our April books.
That's really cool. You know, what's funny is, I mean, there are a lot of, I mean, everybody loves this business. Obviously, that's why we're in it, right? But it's funny because there are all these little hinky things that happen that everybody's aware of, and it sounds like you guys are covering all your bases. I mean, with all the experiences you guys have, you know, because there are shipping delays and there's cost of shipping and there's the return issues and things like that, and each of the distributors has their own thing, and you're talking about that, and then you know, the creators aren't getting paid right. They're not getting paid timely. They're not getting paid in advance. They're not getting paid enough to you know, pay their bills at home. And you guys have answers for that. So it sounds like, you know, you guys have been doing this long enough that you really understand where the reader's coming from, where the distributor's coming from, where the creators are coming from, and where the local comic shops are coming from. And that's awesome. That's a really great place to come from. You just kind of want to make sure everybody gets a fair shake.
It's why we signed on. I mean, Denton calls and says, "Hey, would you like to do? We've done comics. How would you like to do comics a better way that we know would serve everybody that we touch, from the creator to the retailer to the fan?" And this great opportunity is why we all signed on board. So we can't wait.
I can't wait. This, I mean, sounds amazing. So I'm looking forward to seeing the first issues and seeing you guys at conventions and coming down to San Diego for the first time to play some poker. I might not actually set foot on the convention floor.
That's fine.
But I'll come down to play poker.
We can just hit Vegas right afterwards. Just ignore the convention completely.
Is there anything else you want to share with the Comicon audience about what you guys are doing?
You know, I think we kind of just circling back what Joel was saying is, you know, if you've got any job long enough, you're going to experience things that you don't like about that job, right? Things you don't like doing, maybe over time, or things you just don't see the point of. And that's really the biggest draw to me about this company is everything that didn't feel right. When I've worked with other comic book publishers too, and so there's problems all over the place, is that the things that don't feel right, we're not doing. We're not underpaying creators. Our contract is extremely fair. It's a contract I would be happy to take as a creator. So that's what's really appealing to me is there's never a point in the day where I'm like, ooh, I've got to do that thing that I hate to do. I've got to make that offer that's way too low for this person's talent. All the things we don't want to do, we're not doing. And we're trying to keep it as simple as possible while doing that. And I feel like if everyone did that, maybe we'd be in a better place. We're gonna find out. But that's what is really, really, really appealing to me is knowing the things that are wrong with this industry and maybe hopefully trying to take some steps to correcting them.
Yeah, there's a big divide between the people at the top of the chain and the people at the bottom of the chain as far as like pay is concerned. And I think that's in every business. It's pretty ridiculous that any CEO of any company makes 200 times what their lowest paid employee makes. So that's, I mean, just coming from, you know, I've had hourly jobs, I've had piece rate jobs. You know, I used to be a flooring contractor for like 15 years and I was getting paid by the square foot. And just even from there, like, you know, the guy at the flooring store is taking their cut, the salesman's taking his cut. By the time it gets down to the installer, by the time it gets down to the guy that I'm paying, you know, I never start anybody less than $15 an hour, even though minimum wage where I live is $7. You know, it's like you can't live on $7, even if you're working 60 hours a week. So I know that comic book creators work hard, and I know that a lot of creators are going to appreciate where you guys are coming from to like look out for them and make sure they're getting the things that they need for themselves, for their family, and everything. So that's really fantastic. I'm very impressed with that, guys.
Absolutely. We want to provide that oasis. We want to give the fans something to make their lives a little better. We want to make retailers be like, hey, for the 20 seconds you have to order our stuff, make it as easy as possible. And we want our creators to tell their passion projects, knowing that they decide the future of their projects, not a publisher. That's
really cool. So the rights to create our own material, like you guys are, you mentioned a little bit like how that works a little bit, but like, so the creators coming in are going to have more rights to the stuff that they create, so that if they go somewhere else with it or whatever, then they own their chunk of it, or they own the whole thing. How's that work?
Yeah. So our deal is kind of unique. I tried to take more of a book market approach, where you get an advance before you even start on the work, because you know, a lot of times you when you do a creator-owned book and you are getting a rate, you don't get paid until like the first issue is done. And, you know, that doesn't work for everyone. You know, sometimes, you know, you need to have a little money to eat on and while you're doing the work. And so we're we're paying advances. We're paying, good advances so people can actually afford to work and live at the same time, which isn't always the case with comics, and a lot of other industries, to be fair. But one thing, it is 100% creator owned, so we keep no percentage of the IP. The IP, they keep their copyright. This is their story. We're basically licensing it for a certain amount of time, and then we're
Mm.
paying them for the pleasure to create it. And, we're splitting everything 50-50. So publishing, ancillary rights. So if there is a movie, we do get a little piece of that. But again, the creators have 100% control of ancillary rights. A lot of publishers that do give advances do not allow that. They want to have the control of the property so they can, make the sell. And, so we want to put that control in the hands of the creators so they, have a not only a seat at the table, but they get to negotiate. They get to, if they want to adapt, they have that option to be able to negotiate with the studio or the streamer or what have you. So we're giving them, the best of both worlds. I think, trying to give them, an image deal, which is kind of the gold standard in comics, where you control, 100%, you own everything. But, with Image, not everyone gets an advance or a page rate. A lot of it's
Mhm.
just, back end split. So we're supporting creators on the front end as well, and then they get to keep their, their creation. Um, so so we're trying to be as fair as possible. It might not work. That's the thing. We just have to take our shot and see, do the best we can. Try to do what everyone wants. We're trying to make fans happy first, and then retailers and creators. And if it all works together and everyone buys in, I don't see why we can't be super successful.
That's very cool. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see what you guys come out with in March. So I've been given the warning by our producer over there, my editor in chief, Erica Maya. So we're gonna have to wrap this up.
Uh-oh.
My name is Brendan Allen. Over there is Denton J. Tipton. We also have Joel Elad and Bobby Curnow. These are the guys from Magma Comix. You can look for them in March. Their stuff will be in solicits in January, and they have a Zoop running right now that is called Maui Strong from Magma
Mhm.
Comix, live now on Zoop, and it's got all creators from Hawaii that are all involved in that. And the proceeds of that are going to go towards helping to heal Maui from the fires that happened in August of 2023. So thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Thanks.